I'm still changing though. So like, I'm still putting on
You're,
my pajama
you're
pants.
still changing.
Still putting on.
Wait, what?
My
Yeah,
pajama pants.
what kind of countdown was that?
Wait, what?
It's there's no camera. It's fine. No one's gonna see me in my Ninja Turtles underwear. Okay.
Oh, great. Well, now everyone sees it in their mind, and that's going to be much worse.
I mean, if they want to think about me in my Ninja Turtles underwear, as long as they know that there is no Leonardo, only Raphael and Donatello, because those are the two better turtles. They have the best character designs.
Mm-hmm.
You like how I sort of shoehorned in that into the conversation?
Yeah, character designs in underwear. That's going to be a great jumping off point.
Well,
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Conditional Branch.
Yeah.
someone has to be
Everybody.
the sane one in this group, right?
Yeah.
How is everyone doing today? Aaron, Nova, how was your extended vacation? Your paid
It was
leave?
just great until about 5 seconds ago when I have this image of Fishman and Leonardo underwear in my brain.
It was Raphael and Donatello. Thank you very much. Get it right.
I'm glad that's the part you take issue with.
It's what I do. You know, Raphael was cool but rude, you know. And Michelangelo's the party dude.
Mhm.
But Donatello has a big bow staff that could kill Rocksteady on top of the ledge in Ninja Turtles for Nintendo Entertainment System.
Family friendly.
What?
That family friendly.
Well, it's Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles are family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And
How was your time, Aaron?
I mean, other than my PC trying to explode and still not totally functioning as it should, pretty good. But, it's about time that I upgrade my PC, apparently.
How long have you had it?
I built it in 2019, so it is time.
Nice.
Is your PC is your PC still working well? Ish?
It's functional.
Well,
I had to switch browsers because Firefox just decided to no longer work.
If you really want to destroy your computer, put on Google Chrome.
Yeah, that's what we're working on right now because it's functioning.
I'm using Chrome.
I'm a Brave purist. I like Brave.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
For like 3 days, I had to use Edge, so I mean, anything's better than that.
Oof.
Oh, I forgot to put on
sorry.
the music. I forgot to put on the podcast music. Hold on. Okay. I feel like we're in the oceans, trying to survive while Nova is freaking out, trying not to swear after I put on the no swearing curse.
I don't even know half the time. I still got to put in an alert for that because I don't even know half the time when you even turn that on.
It's because that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about character designs today, and what makes a good character design. Okay, well, let's first off let's get down to the nitty gritty. What do you guys think makes a good character design?
So on my end, it's really hard to pin down personally because different designs have different intentions, and when you try to design a character, you're gonna have characters that fill in different roles, and you want to emphasize different things, and you have to blend that with your own personal art style. So it's gonna be hard to really pin down a universal set of rules for character design, much like what makes for good, stories or good writing. It's all about, do you have your intent? Okay, have you achieved your intent? Yes or no? So when we're talking about character designs and when we're trying to judge them, in my opinion, we have to keep in mind the context of the game or the work that you're doing. And you have to figure out, does that make sense in the world that the work is trying to build? So for me personally, I like a blend of practicality and style. So I don't like it when the pendulum swings too far in either direction, because if you go for style over substance, then you have bikini chainmail, right? And if you go the other direction, then it's so generic and so realistic that it fails to stick out in your mind.
Yeah.
So finding that fine line is going to be different for every person. So it's going to be hard to objectively, quote unquote, judge the best.
It's like
But that being said, I'm about to objectively judge a bunch of character designs here.
hey man, that's it's how God intended. I'm currently trying to save some images in here. There we go. Because there are that is not a PNG file at all. We're trying to make this so that it saves proper. There we go. There we go. PNG files. Aaron, what do you think makes a good character design?
Well, I'm gonna be the weird one. I don't care about visual character design like most of the time. I would say like 98% of the time. I don't even really like commit a character to memory most of the time, appearance wise. I care way more about character design on the back end of things, the way that they express themselves, either through dialogue or personality, their background, and the ways that those show through, rather than something superficial.
And that's a perfectly reasonable response. Some people don't really care about how the characters look. There are so many things that there's so many different things that can make a character design good or bad, and it all just varies from person to person. And like for me, a lot of what I think makes a good character design is and this is something I preach to the high heavens, is a good character silhouette. Something that is memorable, something that people think about and they're just like, oh, that character, I know that character just by looking at it. There was a thing that I saw on Facebook a while back that had a slew of characters that were all standing side by side, and you had to figure out who that character was. It was like a little stack of lines that were all different colors, and you had to figure out who that character was based on the color of those lines that were being stacked in a certain order. And a good character design, to me, is something that you can recognize without having the full picture. So whether it be like a stack of line, a set of colors, or a good silhouette.
Okay, fair enough. So, yeah, that's true on paper. So when you have like one single design, that works. But does that also apply for when you're in a game as well? Because in game, the silhouette's gonna keep shifting and changing.
Well, for sure, it's gonna shift and change. But like, once you know that character design, there's a lot of times you're going to know that character just by looking at any sort of pose. Like a good example would be Goku from Dragon Ball. Everyone knows Goku from Dragon Ball. It doesn't matter how he stands. It doesn't matter what he's doing. Once you see that silhouette, you instantly know that it's Goku.
Which version of Goku are we talking about?
We're talking about pretty much every version of Goku. Except for Super Saiyan 4.
I was just say, I think all Super Saiyan versions of all of them look the same. So
yeah,
mostly.
And also, there's like a bunch of different characters that aren't Goku that have Goku's hair as well.
There are 2 other characters that do. But I think the purpose of those characters are to look like Goku. There was one character from the Dragon Ball movie named Turles who had Goku's hair. And the purpose of that character was that he looked like Goku. Bardock was Goku's father, and he looked just like Goku. And then, of course, there's Goten, who is Goku's son. They're all meant to look like Goku. But we're not here to...
I mean, I think there's a difference between looking like someone and being someone. So like, right. I feel like looking like someone means that there would be some noticeable differences.
And you're absolutely right.
And I genuinely cannot tell the difference between Goten and Dragon Ball Goku, not Z Goku, Dragon Ball Goku.
There are a few differences. The regular Dragon Ball, like the original Dragon Ball Goku, was a bit pudgier. He had back then, this was during Akira Toriyama's earlier art style, where Goku had more of a chubbier look, while Goten is more like just tiny limbs. Just tiny limbs. Goku's stature was a lot different than Goten's. And then when you look at Turles, you can tell just by the armor set that he's wearing that it's not Goku. Like his silhouette is Goku, but wearing Vegeta's armor. You can tell just by the clothes that he's wearing.
Okay, fair enough.
But let's not talk about anime characters. We're going to talk about video game characters that have good designs and characters that have bad designs. Now,
Okay, so what about Goku from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? That's a video game.
I noticed. I know.
Yeah. I was like, wait, no, don't give me the silent treatment from that. I was like, yeah, all right. I humor you.
Thank you,
Don't
Nova.
you give me this.
Thank you, Nova. You're wonderful, really. All right, we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about one of Nova's good character designs, and then we're gonna put them against one of Nova's bad character designs. We're gonna do two things. We're gonna grab. I didn't think to do this ahead of time because I'm an idiot. Image. There we go. We're going to make sure we don't see it because we don't want to see all the bad things on my computer. On my computer hardware, we're going to look at a bad design and we're going to look at a good design. Hold on. Okay, we could show that. This is a bad design. I don't know who that is. And then we're going to look at a good design who I obviously know who that is.
Oh, we're gonna do one. Okay, we're gonna do both at the same time.
We're gonna do both at the same time. So we got what's obviously Joker from Persona 5, and we've got what looks like some Beyblade kid from probably a Tales of game, which I don't know what game he's from.
Okay, you're halfway there. Yeah, that is in fact the Tales protagonist on the left there.
Okay.
Okay, so I might as well just go ahead and get into my explanations.
Okay.
So. Joker. Let's start with Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Joker is a good design, not because he's flashy, but because he's the protagonist. Now, a protagonist specifically that does not have a very strongly defined personality. Now, in the Persona 5 world, these designs are of the Phantom Thief variety, and in that specific type of design, that's supposed to be that character's idea of what a rebel looks like. Now, there's nothing particularly complex about Joker's design, but because it's a long black coat with darker vests and pants that can basically fit into just about any person's idea of rebellion, which means that most people would be able to get to, slide into that kind of design to help immerse themselves into that role playing as Joker. So if you wanted to look at the other Phantom Thief designs, they are much more defined. They have much more personality to them because, the rest of them are predefined characters. So I don't think Joker's design in and of itself would win any awards for best design ever.
What you're saying is, so let me guess what you're saying is it's not because Joker is a character that doesn't stand out, but he's the only character that doesn't stand out. So he sort of breaks the mold by standing out, by not standing out.
Kind of.
Okay, go ahead and finish your explanation.
It's important to remember that Joker's personality is largely defined by the player, so he himself does not have a super strong personality. So because of that, his actions, his dialogue, and ultimately his intentions are defined by the player.
Okay.
That's going to be hard to design for. So because, players all have different ideas of what would be best. Different players will select different dialogue actions.
Okay.
And they'll decide on which personas that they want to equip themselves with, because those are different versions of, different ideas of their own personality. So I think something as simple as Joker's design makes for a very strong framework for players to help to start building their own Joker.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Mind you, this is a game that I'm actually that's on my list to play. I recently got it for PS4, and it's something I've been wanting to get through. So
Yeah,
I'm really excited
I
to
think
play
you should.
it. Oh, I think I will. It's not my next game. I've got a game
Mhm.
already set up that I'm gonna play next, but that's besides the point.
Right.
Um,
So,
Okay, so
wait, what
yeah,
were you
go
gonna
ahead,
say?
Aaron.
by that argument, then, aren't you saying that the lack of character design is what makes it a good design?
Yeah, I think so.
I kind of agree with him on that one. It's like, even though it's not something I would normally agree with, in this case, I would agree with him. I was going to argue against it, but his explanation kind of it won me over.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, the design, if you just look at the design without understanding the context, yeah, it's nothing special. It's not going to be winning any reward, any awards ever.
Context matters.
Right. But for the audience here who may be thinking about getting to their own character designs, I think it's important to understand why characters look the way that they do. And when I see Jokers, like, yeah, like, he's not gonna like I'm not gonna look at Joker and think, wow, look at this complex character, look at this like amazing design. I'd be like, okay, no, this is just a a gateway to open a gateway from the player to the world.
Yeah.
You can think of it like I guess you could also replace that with this may anger some people, but you can I think you would also put Link into that same idea.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know, there's nothing particularly special about Link's design,
Oh, I
but
think Link's design
it's
is perfect.
hmm,
I think Link has a perfect design. He is he's recognizable. He does you're right. He doesn't have anything particularly quote unquote special, but with my outlook on or character design, like, he's someone you can absolutely recognize. He's someone that you look at him, it's like, oh, that's Link from Zelda. Yeah, he does look kind of plain, but like it's done so in a way that he's still recognizable. Like, that character.
okay, fair enough. But yeah, the idea that I was getting at is that like his design does not reflect a whole lot of his own personality. That's what I was trying to say because by and large, I guess it depends on which Zelda you're talking about. Link does not have much of a personality.
No,
Yeah, that's a statement. Come fight me on that.
no, you're right. He doesn't have a
Yeah.
personality. You are
No, and he's
Link.
not. Yeah, he's not supposed to. So
I mean,
it's yeah.
that's the
I mean, I
whole.
would argue like the Wind Waker being the one exception where he's full of personality.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
But
but in general, yeah, he's not.
I mean, Miyamoto said himself that he named Link because he's essentially your link into the game.
Hmm.
That was
Yeah,
what he said.
and I think that same argument can be applied to Joker.
I can understand that. I can understand that.
Well, and another controversial game that I think that this could also be applied to is Dragon Quest or any other party-based RPG.
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
glad
I
you
think so
mentioned
too.
that. I am glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that. I love the thing I love about Dragon Quest is a lot of times the main character he isn't overly designed. He's simplified. He's someone that it's meant to be someone relatable.
Which Dragon Quest are we talking about? Because
Almost all of
different
them.
games have different heroes.
The early ones specifically for me.
All right.
For me, it's just about all of them. All the designs I feel were very simplified. Mop Top 11 is a simple design, just a dude with red or purple clothes and a sort of mop top on his head. Simple design, nothing super special. All of the other characters that join you are the highly designed characters. Dragon Quest IV, their character has a little bit more design to him, but all the characters are the ones with the great designs. But with your character, the main character in Dragon Quest being sort of plain, I say that in quotes, I think that in itself is what makes that character more relatable.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, I think that's important when you're designing your protagonists. So for those out there trying to design protagonists and they don't want to have like a strongly defined personality for their protagonist, I think, that visually you can have something more, I don't want to say generic because that's more derogatory than I want, but something simplified. And
Obviously,
that can
someone
help
hasn't been
serve
to
as a
Aldi's.
gateway. Do what?
Someone
Sorry?
hasn't been to Aldi's.
Aldi's?
Yeah, you've never been to Aldi's?
You're not about to do what I think you're about to do, are you?
I
I
was
think
thinking
he's
about
talking
it.
about the grocery store, but
Yes.
they don't.
Oh,
I was going to
I've
do
never.
I was going to do what he thought I was doing, but no, I am
Yeah.
talking about the grocery store.
I was like,
Aldi's.
no. I
Aldi's.
know your BS.
Al-
I'm not gonna fall for it.
Aldi's is a grocery store brand. I want to say it's from Germany, where all of the food that they sell, most of the food that they sell, are off brands, and they're all fantastic. Going to jump and say one thing: I hate midriff. Hey, I understand. I like midriff myself. It works for certain characters. Oh, anyway, sorry. I should.
But
I
yeah,
keep
I'm
forgetting
glad
this is a
Zephyr
pod.
brought that up. But we will get to that later. That is very not exactly, but that is very similar to a talking point that we have planned later. So yeah, stick around.
I do like midriff.
But before we do that, let me move on to Jude there. Okay, so
Hey, Jude.
yeah, so Jude on the left, that's the character design on the left that I think is a bad character design. Now, let me get one thing out of the way. As an outfit, I think it's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
It's okay.
However, I want to go back to you know what? Let me see if I can demonstrate my point. So, Aaron, 10. Can you describe a little bit about Jude's personality? Just by looking at this character right here.
He looks like he wants to. He looks like he wants to win a Beyblade championship.
Okay.
Got
Aaron?
nothing.
Okay. 10. That's exactly the problem. So Jude is a medical student who has a very hard time standing up for himself.
Oh.
Does anything about that pose suggest any of that?
No. God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
That's the problem.
Which game is he from?
He's from Tales of Exilia. He's one of the protagonists that you can select to play as.
Exilia? Is that like I the only Tales of game I've actually played a lot of was Tales of Destiny and the America Tales of Destiny 2. I never played Tales of Exilia, but now I kind of don't want to because I hate protagonists who can. Yeah, Tales of Eternia was great. I hate protagonists who just can't stick up for themselves because I used to be that same way as a kid. I was a kid who could never stick up for myself. I got bullied on a daily basis, and now it's just like when I see characters who are like me when I was a kid, but as adults, that shit drives me fucking bonkers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true, and that's the risk that you run when you create a protagonist with a predefined personality.
Yes.
No matter how soft that personality is, and admittedly, part of Jude's journey is learning to stick up for himself more. So there is that. It's not like that's a character trait from beginning to end.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah. So nothing about what I just described about Jude's personality is reflected in that design.
Right.
And that's why I think it's a poor design. Now,
Counterpoint.
I didn't show this to you guys, but his Exilia 2 design, yes, that does it. I think that's a much better design because that he actually puts on a medical lab coat.
What were you gonna say?
Granted, he's more of a scientist than 2, but
Aaron?
yeah.
How do you show that you don't stick up for yourself in a visual design?
Well, for one, you don't have a power stance and grab your gloves like you're about to beat somebody.
Fair.
Don't look like you're about to win a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters.
Right. Admittedly, it would be hard to reflect that exact personality, but I think step 1 would be make sure don't reflect the exact opposite of personality in your stance.
No, I get that. I agree with you on that. That was... Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next set of characters.
All right.
All right,
Cool.
so we're gonna move on to two of mine. We're gonna do Sonic the Hedgehog and Squall Leonhardt.
Okay. Do you want to define which one is which? 'Cause I don't know.
So
If,
the one on the right is he's a character from a video game series called
sorry,
Sonic the
I meant like
Hedgehog.
which one is good, which one was bad.
I think Sonic the Hedgehog is the good design. I think
Okay.
Squall is a bad design. Um, Squall. Oh God. For me, Squall's design is a very aesthetic thing that I just. First off, belts do not make a good character design. I am going to do something real quick. We need to change this background for a second so that we can actually see our guy.
Yeah.
Let's just we're gonna just make a picture real quick. Hold on.
Okay, so while 10 is doing that, one thing that I do appreciate for Sonic's design, as a Sonic fan myself, is the simplicity.
Thank you.
And yeah, and especially when you're doing animation for video games or any animation really, the simpler the better, because the more stuff you draw in, the harder it's going to be to animate.
Oh, for sure. Like Sonic's design, his design was essentially made to compete with Mario. And you know they wanted to give this character that had a cool, sleek, a cool like it's all of his shapes. The shapes in itself. He has a very. I'm trying to think of a really good way of describing it.
I want to say an edgy because wasn't that like the Genesis marketing. It was like it's the system for adults. So here's this spiky blue hedgehog. Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He had a very edgy design that that people were able to just like gravitate towards. There we go. Now we can see it. You know, and
my eyes.
My eyes. I'm so blinded. I feel like with Squall's design, aside from if he didn't have that sword, it would be very difficult to figure out. He would just look like another edgy anime character. And that's like one of the big things that I've always had a problem with Tetsuya Nomura. His early stuff, Tetsuya Nomura had some beautiful character art back in the early days. He was the character designer for Final Fantasy VII. But I don't know what happened to him. He did a have you guys ever seen Tetsuya Nomura's Batman?
No, I haven't.
Oh boy, you're in for a treat.
All right, let me look that up right now.
No, I'm bringing it up right now.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, the anticipation is killing me.
Oh, you are. It's gonna kill you, all right. It's gonna kill you. It's gonna do something.
All right.
Where are you? The character. Here we go. This is Nomura's Batman.
Huh.
Now,
certainly a descriptor that he enjoys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I need to go into any more about this design, but this is not Batman. It looks more like a Gundam than anything else, or a Tensei character.
But I've seen some pretty mech-heavy Batman suits.
Mech-heavy Batman suit is fine, but whatever that wasn't a Batman. I think he did a Catwoman as well. So anyway, I just like back to the silhouette argument. I've always felt like Squall had a very weak silhouette that just it's kind of difficult to really tell who he is aside from his weapon. When I create my characters, and like one thing you'll notice is a lot of Squall's designs are actually much similar to my character's designs in Isekai Cowboy. He's got the leather jacket. He's got the sort of baggy pants. His pants are green, of course, but like there are some subtle differences that make him look a lot different from Squall as well. With Sonic, however, his designs are they're so simple yet they're so recognizable. If you put it like if you just have a silhouette of Sonic the Hedgehog, it doesn't matter what version of Sonic the Hedgehog. It could be the ugly Sonic from the Sonic movies. You know it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, that's true.
You just it's Sonic to me is probably one of the top 5 designed characters in any media.
So that's for silhouette as well. But there's also a good argument to be made about the simplicity of his design as well.
Yes.
So like even if you don't look at just the silhouettes, like it's a very iconic look.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have the red shoes there, which is a stark contrast to his blue like, is it skin or fur? I've never been able to figure that out.
It's fur.
Okay.
But his
the shading on the games would indicate otherwise, but okay.
But the flesh tone almost has it almost looks like yellow in a way. So it's almost like it's got all 3 primary colors.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yeah, go ahead.
And then the gloves, I feel like the size of his gloves do a really good job at balancing out his figure as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as well. And also when he starts running, like the red shoes form a like a little loop, and that's just something you don't see very often.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do see it in other places, like when like people are jokingly running in like a cartoon sense, like Wile E. Coyote, when his like feet just start running.
Yep.
When he starts running really fast, his feet become like a little circle. But
yeah,
without the red shoes, it just doesn't have the look that Sonic does.
Exactly.
Yeah. So about the Final Fantasies, about the Squall design, what would you do to like adjust that, to fix that? Like, do you think like a different angle would fix the silhouette? Because I don't see much wrong with the design itself.
I feel like
you can change silhouettes with different poses.
I feel like maybe changing his outfit a little bit to make him look a little bulkier. Maybe do something with that hairstyle of his. When you look at well, I won't go into him just yet.
Pause. If you change him to be some like fit, bulkier dude, it doesn't fit his personality anymore. That's not who Squall is.
And you're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right. I just hate Squall as a character, so my bias is very much leaking out right now.
All right, fair enough. But like you say, if you take out the gunblade, then Squall doesn't have much else. Well, what if that's the idea? What if the gunblade is a big part of Squall? I played Final Fantasy VIII a long time ago, and I do not remember much about it, admittedly.
It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's not bad. I like all of the characters except for Squall and Rinoa. Hate Rinoa.
Oh, the two biggest characters in that game.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the 2 characters you can name. The 2 you can name are the ones I hate. Oh god.
Okay.
I guess we should go ahead and let's go ahead and skip on over to your next characters.
Okay.
We're going to go to your good design. And we're going to go to your bad design. I think these would be perfect to put side by side.
Yep, they are. I'm glad you paired those 2 specifically.
I saw them. I'm
they do share a common theme.
What is this common theme?
They're, you may make the argument against the one on the left, but they are both gacha characters.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about them. First off, I don't know who they. I think of this one. I'm willing. The girl with the giant arms. I believe she's from Xenoblade 2. Am I right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Who is the other character?
Okay, that is Zoe from Grand Blue Fantasy, which
Okay.
I think is a very good game, despite it being a gacha game.
Okay.
All right, so the thing about Zoe that I really like about her is I think it is a perfect blend with a stylish power stance and with a little bit of tease. So they handle like sexual characteristics in different ways. I think, in my opinion, Zoe handles it in a more tasteful way.
Oh no, for sure, for sure.
So yeah, it would be weird coming from me saying this, but when you just shove a bunch of boobs in my face, you're getting to bikini chainmail. It's just like, okay,
I agree.
You're trying so hard that it just ends up going full circle and just being childish.
A lot of people would be surprised
Right.
that I agree with you on that one.
I am surprised on that. Like,
the
wait,
only
what?
issue that I have with this particular design, and it comes with all of the extra stuff that comes in the image, and I know the extra stuff it's not really supposed to be part of the design of the character, but like the character herself, she almost comes off as someone who, she has a lot going on, and I look at this image and I'm not really sure exactly a lot of what's going on in the image.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is
Okay,
very
yeah.
confusing to me. I see what looks like it might be a gun. I'm not sure what the cloth behind her is. Like, it looks like, I don't know if it's a cape. I don't know if it's like something that's just sort of wrapped around her waist. And whatever that weird thing with the feathers is in the background, don't know what that is.
Yeah, so that is a shield.
Okay.
Yeah, in the back. So, and a shield as well as a sheath.
Okay.
So this is a gun variant. Like normally she is a sword and shield type of person, but in this design, this variant, she swaps out the shield with the gun.
Okay.
So yeah, I like this mostly because of the stance, and because of the balance between armor and cloth. I think that's just it's a sniper shot straight to my sense of aesthetics.
Okay.
So there's that.
Okay.
But if you want to handle, sexualization in characters, right? I think Zoe's a good way to do it.
For sure.
Because it shows just enough skin that it's like, okay, there it is if you're looking for it, but it also teases you a little bit because ironically, the less skin that you show, the more it's interesting.
It leaves more to the imagination.
Right.
No, and I get
And then
that.
there's going to be the swimsuit variation and like the other gacha stuff that, it's going to be a mess.
Oh, people are gonna buy the crap out of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
People, people whenever they
Or
see
gamble.
a character.
Gamble
Oh no, yeah. Hey, what am I talking about? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Gotcha system, man. It's a
Mhm.
blight to the gaming industry.
Yep. But as a tank as well, so it is her job to tank hits as well. So that's why I think that the armor and the shield help serve on that.
Okay,
Pause.
Hmm.
Armor, it's cloth.
that is cool.
What's
That's
on
not
her
gonna
leg
tank
and her
anything.
arms?
Okay, but like I can still stab her heart and her entire digestive system.
Yep, that is what the shield is for. Like I said, it's not super perfect, but I think it's good. And I don't think it's a perfect example of what her role is, but there are elements that help her with that, to help convey that.
I assumed DPS, and I was okay with that. I'm not okay with
She
that.
can
as a
do
tank.
DPS as well. She
I-
actually has a mix of tank and DPS.
I was gonna
But that,
say,
most of her skills do revolve around tanking hits.
I was just gonna say, when you said tank, I was a little bit hesitant to believe you as well. I was like, come on
Hang
now.
on, it's been a while since I played this. Let me look that up. I may be wrong because I know she does have some damage abilities.
I hope you're wrong, because as a DPS, I support this design.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. I think she looks like a character that probably should stay far away from the battle and just sort of take out people from a distance.
I'm wrong. I'm very wrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you, Jesus in
she
heaven.
has like all offensive abilities.
Oh, no, but you can't even. You don't even know your own characters. What the fuck, man?
There's a different variation that is defensive focus, and I got those confused.
Okay, does she
Yeah.
at least have like the big armor?
No, but she has more armor. It's
More-
not big armor, but
Oh.
it is more of the sword and shield variant.
Listen.
That is more of a.
I have a weird soft spot for girls with giant armor. I know that's weird, but I have a big soft spot for a
No, there's
girl
nothing weird
with
about
giant
that.
with like those giant shoulder pads that with they have the armor that sort of accentuates the form, but still is armor, and then like she has like those large boots and gloves, and she has like the giant weapon. That shit is so fucking cool.
Hmm.
Let's talk about arms over here. Everyone's
Yeah, all right.
favorite
So
Nintendo
let's
Wii.
contrast that with the other one. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with Jude. I want you guys to, if you haven't played Xenoblade, well, if you have played Xenoblade, shut up. If you haven't played Xenoblade, why don't you tell me what this person's role is?
She
Boner
looks.
baiting.
Do what?
100% boner baiting. That is her role.
I mean, she does.
Well, you're not wrong there.
I think 99% of the gacha characters in Xenoblade 2 are boner baiting.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, and
absolutely.
I think that's really prevalent in most gacha games. I can't say all, because there are some that do it better than others.
You should play Wizardry. That's beautifully done.
But like
Oh,
this, straight up, there is no function to anything
Mhm.
except there's maybe some muscles.
My guess is that she is probably either a DPS or a tank.
No, commit to one. You
We're gonna go with DPS because that sword looks like it's meant to do damage.
Okay, wrong. She's a tank.
God damn it, Nova!
Can't you tell? Look at all that armor that's going to reflect all of those hits.
I
And
was
Yeah.
thinking more on the arms, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly, and that's the problem. That's super misleading. Now, admittedly, she is in Xenoblade 2. Katana users like her are dodge tanks, not necessarily like they're not meant to.
She's a
actually
dodge
take hits.
tank?
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Don't lie to
Uh-huh,
me.
uh-huh. No, I'm not. Katana
Now-
users are dodge tanks.
But now, I do, aside from the scantily clad, mind you, I do like scantily clad, but I think what really draws me to this character is I love the arms. I think these things are so cool. I love the sword that's just there that these two arms are pulling out. That is just so badass to me.
I agree. Yeah, I think the arms as a concept are great. It's literally everything else about her is just so bleh.
yeah, I was going to say it's too bad they ruin it with everything else. Because
Yeah.
that's just, I don't know. Like, so I am not somebody who really cares about visual design, like I said, but the one hill I will die on is that your armor should be functional, not fashionable. Like, we're here for fighting. This is supposed to protect your organs and keep you from dying on the battlefield. We're not going to fucking New York Fashion Week here. Not that that would pass because, like, there's a dress code, but like,
Yeah.
everything about that is just completely non-functional for a battlefield.
And you're right, it is not functional, but I do think that, you know, I don't think there's nothing really wrong with just making something for the sake of for the sake of fantasy, because a lot of people aren't really going to care about whether an armor is functional or not. Sometimes they just want something that does look good. It's like when I'm playing as a female character in an MMO. I'm not really caring about any of the function stuff. I just want to look cool. I just want to look good. I don't give a fuck about what the functionality of what it looks like. I think that's why a lot of MMOs have this ability to transmogrify armor to look any way you want it to look.
And that's the thing. And that's what we were drawn back to at the beginning of this discussion was like, yeah, everyone's going to have a different line.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also worth noting that as this character is a blade and is therefore not human.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding is that these designs can't really be changed. Like it's not like they can just change their outfit because that's what they are.
Yeah, I don't know how
Now, granted,
I don't
like,
know. I don't know.
there's only so much context you can put in before it starts to like go like, no, you're just boner baiting. But it's not a. It would be one thing if that was an outfit that this character chose to wear, but in the context of Xenoblade 2, that's actually not the case. Whether that excuses it or not is up to you, but it is important to like at least acknowledge that context.
don't
Oh,
know.
sorry, you were going to say something?
I was gonna say, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really see. Like I said, I think in some instances, it's okay to overtly sexualize characters because I mean, some games it's just it's the main goal. But sometimes, like when the main goal isn't to sexualize characters, then yeah, you're right. I believe some designs should be a lot more conventional or more what's the word I'm looking for? Work.
Practical.
Thank you, practical.
Okay, well
So,
then
but
here's something.
yeah, like,
Go ahead.
I-
Go ahead, Aaron.
so in what part of Xenoblade are we meant to be overtly sexualizing characters? Because in my head, that's a JRPG, not a hentai game.
Okay, are you a woman?
Me? Yes.
Then guess what? Then your role in the Xenoblade universe is to get sexualized in Xenoblade 2.
Well, I mean,
That's
that's
your role.
most video games, which is why things like bikini chainmail and titty armor is stupid. Because it
Yeah.
teaches boys to sexualize women no matter what.
That's true.
I
And
don't-
when I was going through actually, it's only 2 that does this. I remember 3 and 1 actually having some pretty good designs.
Yeah,
for women.
three
It's only 2.
3 had great designs. 3
Yeah,
was
yeah.
probably my favorite in the series.
I think so too. Yeah.
I really
yeah,
just didn't like 2 all that much.
Now, here's the thing. Here's some very important context, and I think that this is we're not really talking about the design at this point, but it's important to understand the world, and because this brings up a different question that I'm going to ask later. In Xenoblade 2, there is a war between, well, not war, it's a conflict between a certain group of blades, like this character here, and humans. And the idea behind it is that blades should deserve rights, like equal rights. And that the idea of blades being used as tools to be thrown away when they're no longer useful, that is a prominent theme in Xenoblade 2. So explain to me then how throwing away generic blades that you get from a gacha roll, because they're not characters like this, make any sense.
And that in itself comes with the issue of the gacha system, I think, because you're going to run into a lot of blades that are just generic wolf with blade in mouth, or generic guy with gun that just look like, I don't know, the hunter from Phantasy Star Online. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of blades that I just don't use, and that comes to that there's a lot of issues with that in the actual story. Like, I feel that I feel like it's like if you had to can you pay for gacha shit in Xenoblade 2?
Xenoblade 2? No, you cannot buy it with real world currency.
Good. Then that's the only saving grace, but at the same time they keep you from being able to save scum getting certain blades by saving the game before the blades are revealed. And to me, that is just... it just makes it so hard, because there's a lot of blades that have a certain role that I would not want to put on a certain character. And when I have that blade that has a role that I would not put on a certain character, that blade becomes pretty much useless to me.
Yep.
And they end up... the story where blades and humans have the same rights or whatever becomes completely obscured, because you're not going to use a blade. You're not going to use a tank blade on Mia or whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm.
She's strictly a healer to me. That's it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So then here's the question that I was alluding to earlier. Should the character designs tell the story, or should the story justify the character designs?
I don't know. I think really in the end it just depends on the creator themselves. I think there's a place for overtly sexualized characters, and I think there's a place for non-overtly sexualized characters. There's an audience for both sides of the story.
So, do you think it's okay for games to try and have their cake and eat them too? Because that's what Xenoblade 2 is trying to do.
Absolutely. I absolutely think that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because there are games like Xenoblade that I'm going to enjoy, and then there are going to be cases where overtly sexualized characters are just not what I'm looking for. You know, I'm not looking like one of the things that I love about Unicorn Overlord is the character designs. None of the characters in Unicorn Overlord are overtly sexualized. They're practical and they look really good.
This is the point where I have to remind you of the witch class.
The which
And
class?
and
I
the
don't know which class you're talking
witch?
about.
Yena? But that was her name. Yana. Sorry. The one that shakes her hips.
Which character are we talking about?
Yana in Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah. Which character?
Yana. That's her name. The witch.
Yeah, which character are we talking about?
Am I stupid? Like,
Never mind.
Am I not?
Never mind. It's going over your head. Which character? The witch.
Oh, you piece of... piece of shit.
Which witch? Thank you.
Punch you. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, they're okay. Yana, fine. One character is overtly sexualized, but look at all the other characters that aren't overtly sexualized. You know, who's your favorite character in Unicorn Overlord, female-wise?
That's a good question. Very few of them actually stuck out to me. I went with Rosalinda just because I thought she had the most fun personality and the best chemistry with Alir. No, not Alir. Elaine.
Elaine, yeah. See, I thought Rosalinda was adorable, and you knew. I told you. Once you see the character that I like, you're gonna know who it is, and you knew.
I knew who it was the moment I met.
Yep, I told her once you meet her, you'll know.
But you could also make that argument as well for her, because did she really need the leotard that high up?
You know, the other character I enjoy was Chloe.
I don't remember who that was.
She was the side character that she's the healer that starts out with she's the spear girl.
Oh yeah, her. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think that kind of speaks a lot, because now that you reminded me, yeah, she was actually there from the beginning, and I completely forgot about her.
I thought she was a sweetheart.
But it's also worth noting that in Unicorn Overlord, a lot of the characters that were not unique classes also had the exact same outfits as the enemy variants.
Yeah.
The only difference is that the main characters, the allies, did not have helmets on.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeah, it goes in the almost polar opposite direction of Xenoblade.
Exactly.
Whereas it's so practical that it actually, you lose a lot of the personality. But the only personality that they have is in their dialogue and in their face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a tactical strategy game. What more do what are you expecting? We're not getting Shakespeare here.
I mean, Fire Emblem does that. Kind of. In Hero 1.
I don't know about that. You get a lot of characters that just are in the background in Fire Emblem.
Like I said, kinda.
Let's we're gonna
I'm just trying to get you back from that witch argument, because oh man, I'm still mad about that.
Which argument?
I'm gonna punch you.
All right, we're gonna go to my next good and my next bad.
All right.
So we're gonna do good. This is gonna be a little weird one. Bad. All right, so we're going with Old Cloud and New Cloud.
Okay, so which one's good? Okay, so the one on the left is good, the one on the right's bad. Changing it up.
The one with Goku's hair is the good one. The one with Squall's hair is the bad one. Now,
gotcha.
Yeah, the characters' designs are essentially the same, but it's how they're drawn that sort of comes off. It sort of changes the context of the actual character themselves. They're both the same character, but they both look like they have two completely different attitudes. The one on the right, I don't know, it's a weird little slouch that he does. It's the shortened hair. He doesn't feel like he's putting his all into it. But the guy on the left, he has a very confident look. Which thing should we retire?
Wait, what? Which thing should we retire? What?
I was just reading chat.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I feel like with the older Cloud design, it's his figure. It's the way he holds the blade. He has a very confident pose in him. He looks like a leader. He's a
But is
character.
that actually his character?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
playing him in the remake, well, in remake, I still keep trying to call him a remake. Yeah, he does not give off the leader impression.
In the remake, he does not give off the leader. He comes off as sort of mopey in the remake.
So in that sense, wouldn't that mean that the right design is actually not bad? Because that's more appropriate to the character.
I don't like the new character. I'm being
Oh, so
biased here.
you don't like it, therefore thing is bad, huh?
Thing is bad. Everything I hate is bad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No,
okay,
I feel like you're a naughty boy. I feel like Cloud had more of a personality in the old version than he did in the new version. I don't like the way he presents himself in the new version. I think the game itself, I don't know. It feels so. I can't. It's hard to explain.
Fair enough. One thing I do want to point out, though, in this, I don't know how good of a comparison that is, because the one on the left is a 2D drawing, and I believe the one on the right is a 3D render. So yeah, like they're not going to be fundamentally the same.
Well, even
Because
the
the one on
3D
the left
render,
would,
even though 3D render in the original PlayStation version had the same feeling as the version in the drawing.
yeah, and that's fine. That would be a more like apt comparison. Yeah, it's just, but like when I'm looking at these two, and you're talking about silhouettes as well, I'm just like, well, I think that's more of a problem of the art style change between the original and the new one, not necessarily with the design of Cloud himself. Yeah, because like the shorter hair, yeah, that wasn't gonna happen, because the remakes have more of a more realistic take on the Final Fantasy genre.
Well, okay.
Whereas in the original is like, yeah, there was only so many polygons that the original game was allowed to render at one time, so you had to make something distinct while still trying to make it look more believable.
Okay, we're gonna pull up another render of Cloud.
All right.
That is closer to the original PlayStation version, if I can find it. Here we go. It's a screenshot, but it does the trick. We're gonna keep the. We're gonna save this. Save as. Oh, damn it! Come on, man! Don't do this to me. Yes, accept all cookies. That's fine.
We're professional streamers, everybody.
Dude, it's yeah. Oh, Christ, cracker. Open image in new tab. Save as. There we go. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna do this instead. New tab. V. There we go. We're gonna open up a window. It's gonna be my Sprite file or Sprite folder, or my Sprite program.
Oh geez, yeah. Make sure you don't show us what you have in there.
Oh no, it's empty.
It's that gross mess that you have in there.
You don't need to know about all that.
Nobody needs to know that.
There we go. This is Cloud from Super Smash Bros. He has essentially the same design as Cloud from the PlayStation era. They gave him the large hair. They gave him the bulky stature. He looks essentially like an updated version of the original 3D model from the PlayStation era. I think they did a really good job at bringing that to life. So I mean, it can be done. That art style can be done. It's just how willing are you to go into avoiding making it look uber realistic? Because honestly, when things look super realistic, they don't really tend to stand out.
Yeah, that's the paradox of graphical advancements, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like the more realistic they can get, the more generic and dull they get.
art design over art design over.
Graphical fidelity.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, a perfect character. Back to Sonic the Hedgehog. He's
Mhm.
not an overtly realistic looking character, but because of that, it's a good design. People could play Call of Duty all they want, but they're never going to really remember any of the characters. They're just there to shoot people.
Ooh, that's a statement. I wonder how many people actually agree with that.
I mean, it's Call of Duty.
I say is I'm trying to remember any of the characters in any of the Call of Duty games I played.
Well, look at League of Legends. That game has nothing but character designs.
Yep. Yeah, that is true.
Or Zenless Zone Zero, or whatever that game is called, or Genshin Impact. It's all character designs.
Mhm.
Genshin has narrative.
You're right. It's I've never
A
played
lot
it.
of it.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it doesn't have narrative. I'm saying that it has good character designs. And now I've heard that it has a really good narrative. I've always wanted to.
I've never played it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Admitted, I have, but I've actually I don't remember the narrative. I just remember certain moments that aren't really tied to the narrative. So that's interesting. It's like it's not really like my understanding of Genshin Impact. Granted, it's been a while since I played it. I think it's been about a year, maybe a year and a half since I played it. But it's more because it suffers the same problem as most of those live service games. Is like, okay, you can't play the whole thing. It's just like you have a bunch of stuff that actually doesn't matter in the long term. It's just more like slight character moments. So the main plot, yeah, that's my issue with that. But it is a collection. The best parts of Genshin Impact are the collection of smaller individual stories, not necessarily the larger narrative.
Oh yeah.
Also, before we move on, going back to Call of Duty, I am the worst person to talk about this because, first of all, if you know anything about me, shooters and fighting games are the two genres that I just absolutely write off as garbage. Which I know is bias. Come at me.
It's okay.
But I will argue that Call of Duty World at War has very memorable characters. And another reason I say that I'm the worst person to talk about this is because I could not remember character names to save my life. Like, if someone was standing here with a gun to my head, I would not be able to tell you their names. But they are so memorable. Like, I have watched and rewatched a playthrough of World at War multiple times because the narrative is that good, and it's 100% because of the characters. Because, like, it's just retelling World War II. Like, that's not an epic story that I'm attached to and I need to hear retold over and over again. I was gonna say I've lived it, but no, I haven't lived it. But like, I've learned about it. I've studied World War II. But the characters and the way that they interact with their little platoons, especially the German and Russian side of things, is remarkable. And I would say that people who do like remember names and don't have the memory of Swiss cheese, would be able to immediately call out at least the first like the lead main characters that you play as. So I don't think that immediately writing off Call of Duty as not having good character design is fair to it.
Well, shit. I might have to play World at War. Give that one a go.
Yeah, me too.
Amazing.
That's
You
a harder
got-
sell. I've never been more sold on a Call of Duty
Jesus
game
Christ,
anywhere
Aaron.
until right now.
Where were
It
you
is-
on that? That's
It is
fucking.
so
Do you not?
So
Do you work
good.
in advertising? Because you that would be a great pitch.
I might need to hire you, Aaron. Jesus Christ. All right, guys, forget it. We're not doing this anymore. I'm just gonna grab Erin. She's gonna advertise for my game. Sorry, guys. Fuck.
Yep.
No. Okay. Back to the. Oh shit. Well, let me put the song just ended. We're gonna reset the song. Jesus.
Call of
Christ.
Duty wasn't always bad. Yeah.
No, Call of Duty
Yeah,
used
that's
to be
true.
great. I believe, like back in the original Modern Warfare days, Call of Duty was a fantastic franchise. Of course,
Yeah, I
you know,
jumped in-
Activision, then became Activision.
Yeah, I jumped in on Modern Warfare 2. I think Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops were the two Call of Duty games that I really enjoyed. But then after that, it was just like, meh. But I mean, I didn't fall out of Call of Duty because of the stories. I just fell out because, like, okay, it got to the point where it's like you play one linear shooter, you play them all.
Okay.
And then I never really got back into that kind of linear shooter style until Titanfall 2, which I thought was fantastic.
Titanfall. I'll have to play that. I've heard
Titanfall
it's
2
great.
specifically. The first Titanfall, don't play that. Stay away from that one.
Let's go on to our next characters. These are the last ones that Nova submitted.
Mhm.
Now I already know who this character is.
Yep. So yeah, for the same reasons that I think Joker was a good design, I would also apply that to Raguna here, who's on the left, because this is also the protagonist of Rune Factory 1, which, for those that don't know, Rune Factory is a farming sim / dungeon crawler. So it's like, in fact, it was the first game that actually, I think, pioneered that kind of genre. It was like, hey,
Yep.
you like your farming sims, but what if you just added a little dungeon crawling as a side activity?
I think it's a great combination. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really care much for the design of the character, but I didn't play the game that this character came from, so I don't really have too much context on what makes this character's design a good design.
So, for similar reasons as Joker, though admittedly like Raguna here has a little bit more of a predefined personality. But for similar reasons as Joker, you can pretty much tell that this guy's a combination of farmer and fighter just by looking at him. Because he's not overly armored, so he's not all about the fighting.
No.
But the larger gloves means that he works with his hands a lot, which is very good for both farming and fighting.
Nova.
And the adventurer pouches where you can store stuff, that's good. That helps with the dungeon crawling.
Hold on. Yes, Aaron.
I'm gonna argue against you with this one because at first glance, if you would have asked me to describe this character, I would have said, "Oh, well, she looks like a great little girl next door."
You know.
So I think maybe
that's
maybe
a new
there's
one.
something
That's the
that
first time
is,
I've ever heard that.
Aaron,
something that's maybe not translating fully there.
I gotta be completely honest. When I first saw this character a long time ago, I kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought that it was a chick.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. But that is more of the. I think that's more of the art style, because yeah, you can tell like there are a lot of characters can look kind of androgynous, especially the main characters.
Rune Factory. Every single main male character is androgynous.
Yeah.
Which is a good segue. Just saying.
Segue into what?
Into next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
okay. Dropping hints mid-hints. Hints so subtle, not even we can pick up on them.
It's true. But yeah, that was just, when you started saying I was like, pause.
Yeah, but we are kind of running out of time. We are going over time, so I'm going to keep this brief. But yeah, again, same reason. But in a way, the androgyny can kind of help in a way, because, Rune Factory is a more relaxed game. Like, you don't. It's not like Joker or what was the other one I had? Zoe, where it's like you need to know that is a man.
It's a cozy game where you can just sit down. You don't have to overthink it. It's relaxing.
It also helps. It's also true that the androgynous look can kind of help, because you cannot actually, in at least the first 3 games, you can't choose which gender your protagonist is.
No, you're just given one character.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything wrong with a more androgynous design. I mean, I love Shin Megami Tensei 5, and yeah, the main character is like the assistant has to keep reminding the player that the main character is a man.
Oh yeah.
Well, and with that background information, knowing that I haven't played the first 3, I've only played 4 and 5. Knowing that you can't pick your gender and that it is partially a life sim, it makes a lot of sense that the playable character is androgynous, because then you can kind of see yourself in whichever gender you present as, or somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely.
So in that regard, I will take back my "this is bad design" and say that it's actually very good design.
No,
because it can be translatable.
I'm going to actually agree with you on that one too, because when you
okay, and will you guys take back your takebacks if like you knew that you could only choose women as your partners?
I think that goes beyond character design, and I think that's just narrow-minded.
Okay,
But
fair enough.
I wouldn't necessarily
I-
put that on character design.
I won't so much think of it as narrow-minded because back in that day, no one really thought about having homosexual relationships in video games like that. It was just it was because like back in the Harvest Moon day, I think the first time that in the Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons that they actually allowed for same-sex relationships was, I want to say, the remake of Friends of Mineral Town, I think it was. I believe
All right,
that's the
fair enough.
first time that they actually. I mean, it was really only recently that they started including that.
Yeah, and in Rune Factory itself, like you couldn't have same-sex relationships until the latest one, the 5, and even then, that had to come as a post-launch patch.
But I feel like with gay relationships, it really just depends on if the creator themselves wants to include them or not. I think that's really what
Mhm.
it just comes down to. I'm curious about the Jill Valentine though.
Okay, yeah. So moving on, because yeah, we are running out of time.
Yeah, and I do
So
want to
Jill
do one more
Valentine
character.
suffers the same problems as Newt, which is like the design is very like it's antithetical to what they are.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't make sense whatsoever.
yeah, for those that don't know, Jill Valentine is the protagonist of Resident Evil 3, and that is basically a zombie survivor game, where if you get bit, guess what? You're infected.
You know,
So imagine somebody running around in a tube top. It's like, yeah, very impractical. Like actually going out of their way to reveal more skin because she has a jacket but is wrapped around her waist.
crazy thing is I love Jill's original design, but
I think it's fantastic.
I do have a
Yeah.
question though. Wasn't Resident Evil 3 never supposed to be Resident Evil 3?
It was supposed to be it was a side game. It was supposed to be something to tide people over while they were making Code Veronica. Code
Okay.
Veronica was actually supposed to be like the quote unquote real Resident Evil 3 because that one actually moves the story forward.
Okay.
But they were due to business decisions, Capcom needed another game to keep PlayStation owners satisfied.
Right.
Now, going back to Jill's design here, you know, if she were just a civilian being caught like in the outbreak, okay, that's one thing.
Yeah, but this is Jill
But
Valentine.
as Ten alluded to, Jill Valentine is a survivor of Resident Evil 1. So this
Yeah.
is not the first time that she's been in a zombie
This
outbreak.
is not her first rodeo.
Right. Oh, but she was caught off guard and all that. Okay, fine. I believe that. I would believe that she was caught off guard in a random like freak scenario
It's like
or one day.
It's
But,
like
but this game takes place over the course of like 3 days, and her design does not change since then.
it's like, boy,
Now-
it's like this zombie outbreak's crazy, but I got this really hot date, so I don't want to go and change my clothing just yet.
Yeah, exactly. Now, to the game's credit, the remake of RE3 I think is a much better design because, and also it helps, you know, you also see in the game that she was literally forced out of her home and could not change. But yeah, overall, that the design in the remake is just better. But this one, nah, this ain't it.
Oh no, I agree. I don't like
Yeah,
this.
it's not overly sexual, but it's also highly inappropriate for her situation.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like the design just it feels so out of place, especially
Right.
with the idea of the game. She's being chased by fucking Nemesis of all things,
Yeah.
and she's like shooting her with fucking bazookas. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
All right, I got
Yeah,
one more
that's it.
design that I want to share before we call this a night, and this is my last good design, and I'm ready to make enemies with this one.
Oh, here we go. This ought to be good.
This,
Canceled.
I think,
You're
is a fantastic design. People are going to fight me to the death on this one, but I think Bubsy is a good design. He's memorable. He's like, you could tell this is an annoying fucking character. It's like almost like you could tell who the character. He's the kind of character when people see him, he sparks unneeded frustration. And I feel like that in itself makes him a good designed character. I like Bubsy, unironically, but there's so many people out there in this world who look at Bubsy and they're just like, this should not be a thing that exists. And I think in itself kind of makes him a great character.
Okay, so are we going to look at this character within the context of Bubsy as a character, or are we
Yes.
just going to look at the design?
Bubsy as a character, because
Okay.
the character himself, he's meant to be irritating. He's meant to be he's meant to be someone who is trying to be cool, but everyone knows that he isn't. Like he's just a walking pile of catchphrases. And they're all bad catchphrases.
Like, I agree that they're all bad, but I'm not sure I agree that the idea that, like, the game thinks that he's bad. Like, I think the game really was trying to hype him up to be something good.
They were. But in modern days, they were trying to bring him back, and they were laying into the idea that people thought he was annoying. They've opened their arms to the idea. They've relished that people hate this character, and they marketed him that way in a sense. And I think that itself kind of makes him just. I like him. I like Bubsy. Unironically, I think he's an interesting character. He's almost like a litmus test for character design.
But is it the design or the character?
Because
design-wise, this doesn't stand out to me. I have not played Bubsy. With you telling me that he's supposed to be like that sort of character, I can see it, I guess.
You can see it in his face, yeah.
Yeah, when I first looked at this, I was like, huh, must be some weird rare game because that looks like Conquer. Which, to me, again, means it's bad design because it's not unique.
Well, this actually came out long before Conquer ever came out. This was back during the Super Nintendo Genesis era, where they were trying to compete with Mario and Nintendo, and they tried. They really tried. You know, they had games for I think they had 4 Bubsy games before they finally shelved the series, and before bringing him back again. They had one for the PlayStation, which was this weird 3D game. They've had one for the Jaguar, which was this really fucking bizarre fairy tale game. And then they had two that were just really badly made platformers. But Bubsy himself has really come around as a character that just is so mutually despised by everyone in the game industry. There are people that have actively requested Accolade to allow them to try and make a good Bubsy game, because people want there to be a good Bubsy game.
But I still think that is more on the character and the game itself than it's the character's design.
I would happen to agree with that. So I happen to play Bubsy 2 on the Genesis.
Oh God, I'm
so,
sorry.
What?
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and that is in fact the only Bubsy game I played. Now, I want to ask Aaron, what do you think Bubsy can do?
Like, do as in how?
It's like in the game. Like, what do you think like Bubsy's mechanics are? It's a 2D platformer, but what do you think Bubsy is capable of doing? Sonic can curl into a ball. Mario.
He has like a special ability?
Yeah, like a special ability.
Oh, I would not have guessed that he has anything special other than run, jump, and maybe roll.
What if I told you that Bubsy could glide?
Is he a flying squirrel?
He's a cat.
Bobcat.
Wait, then how can he glide? Where do the wings? Does it come out of his armpit?
Don't you know cats only land on their feet, Aaron?
There are no wings. Bubsy just spreads his arms out and he glides.
Oh, it's mental. The game is just mentally stupid.
Well, then that's an even worse character design than I originally thought.
And that's what I love about him.
But that makes it bad.
It's okay.
No, it's not okay. We're skewing you on this one.
Oh, fuck you guys. Well, we'll fight to the death on this one.
We're gonna have fried fish tonight.
Oh, come at me, motherfucker.
This character tells me nothing, or this design tells me nothing about what this character does in the game. Like, only because I know it's a platformer would I assume jump. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even assumed jump because his legs are noodles.
what if I also told you that Bubsy can run faster than Sonic?
He can actually.
But
that
I
makes
mean, he runs so fast, he runs off the camera.
Yes, he
You
does.
have to constantly stop.
Oh,
That
what's
one
even
I at
better?
least don't argue with.
What's even better is it's a one hit death in the game. He touches anything, he dies.
I mean, that kind of makes sense. He's small and slight. I can understand that. Same thing with being fast. He looks like a character that could be built for speed.
He's just a cool dude, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna agree with you on this one, Ted.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not
We're
gonna
gonna. It's a hill I'm going to die on.
and die. I bet I want some fried fish tonight.
Oh, you have no idea what you're in for. I think it is getting pretty late. I did want to end on a very bad note, and I think that was
great.
the perfectly bad note.
Yeah.
I think, guys, I think this is have we talked about what next episode is going to be already? I forget.
Well, Aaron kind of teased it.
I teased a little.
Ooh, Aaron, give us some of this. Give us some of that cream. I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna know what we're gonna be tasting next week.
I'm terrible at this, other than what I was already set up for very nicely by
You can
Nova.
make your decision. You can make your choice on what you would like to taste next week.
We'll discuss that tonight. We'll throw some hints out later on through the week, but it's gonna be a fun show, I think.
So anyway, I guess in conclusion,
Bubsy's a great character.
We kind of went very. Shut up. In conclusion, for those that are like wanting to design characters, like it's gonna be rough. I feel
It's gonna
because like there is no objectively good way to design characters. Like we all gave our thoughts on what makes good and what makes bad ones. Clearly, we don't all agree on everything.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Exactly. That's why we're doing this.
But
it's good to have different perspectives.
We come from an era where, games have like super like overly sexualized women. Well, I guess overly is relative, but like it was normal to have women just be like sex objects and men to be like power fantasies. Because I tried to put in a blend of men and women when I made my selections, and have them both in good and bad categories. But personally, character design, is you have to understand your intentions with these characters.
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not we like them, we are not the judge of like what makes a good character, what doesn't. But I hope at the very least, if you're listening to it this far, well, first off, like and subscribe. Second of all, understand that, you need to understand your goals when you're designing these characters. You can't just sit down and be like, okay, this is cool or not, and then just have it being done. Because someone's going to look at that and be like, okay, well, what about this, that, or the other thing? Why is it not practical? Unless you do want to just say, hey, slap down the rule of cool and just be done. But in that case, be ready for blowback because, some people are going to look at that and be like, okay, well, style over substance. You say rule of cool, someone else could say style over substance. But yeah, it's a rough world out there. So make your decision, and then just stick with it.
Don't be ashamed of your decision either. Just because a person doesn't like your design, it's still your design. You're still going to gravitate towards that character. Just make sure that character is Bubsy.
If you want your characters to fail.
Yeah.
There we go. We said it. All right. So
who are we
design
rating?
Bubsy if you want your stuff to fail.
Who are we rating? I'm looking at Quex right now.
Wait, are we able to rate, or has
We're
it
gonna
been?
find
has
out.
It been long enough?
We're gonna see.
All right.
Nerd is actually doing dev.
It looks like we still can't. It's still. It's not that. It's not ready
right.
for it yet. I think we got one more week or so. And then we can start rating people. God damn it, Twitch.
Yay.
Way to fuck us, Twitch.
Yeah. We have to prove that we're not bots.
Yeah, no shit. God, look at us.
Yeah.
We're beep boop, beep boop. We're robots. We're AI intelligence.
All right. Well, I guess that'll be it for everybody. Thank you all so much for watching by. Watching by? Okay. Wow. Good thing I wasn't talking for the last hour and a half.
It's okay.
Otherwise, that would have been very embarrassing.
We forgive you.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, Aaron, and Nova. We appreciate y'all hanging out. Have a good night.
Night.
Good night, everyone.